The last time I was here, some members of council were called by name and were also called liars from this platform. When I asked about it later, the city clerk told me that is not supposed to happen. Also, in our parliament in Ottawa, if you say that about a member, you can be removed from the House. I hope that today, being here instead of being in school, I will learn better lessons this time. Since I addressed this committee in March, I have been out talking to people in Hamilton. One big mall wouldn't let us talk to people inside their property because we don't have $2 million insurance. A major grocery store wouldn't let us in because they didn't want us to compete with their own messages. So we went to the Eastgate bus stops and to Confederation Park Trail, where we were free to talk to people about LRT. Lots of people who live on the mountain or in the suburbs told me they support the LRT. They understand that building a city begins in the core, and they want to live in a city that is moving forward. I'm sad to say that another answer I heard quite a few times was what's an LRT? Yesterday, we all read about the opinion poll they just did. It said people were well informed about the LRT but did not support it. But I learned from someone who got a call for the survey that the first question they asked people was how much they knew about the LRT. I wonder how many people said yes just to sound smart and avoid sounding foolish. I wonder how much of the rest of the poll results I should believe. Opponents of the LRT say they don't know what it will cost, but they are sure it will be more than $1 billion. That's like me telling my teacher I don't remember doing my homework project or handing it in or what it was about, but I'm sure I did. I can't be telling the truth about the homework, and they can't really be telling the truth about the costs. Some people are complaining that the LRT during construction and when it's done will leave less room for cars and will cause traffic congestion. I say they are right about less room for cars, but wrong about causing congestion. Congestion is caused by everybody wanting to drive their own car everywhere. We just can't keep jamming more and more cars, parking lots, and buses into a downtown that's already crowded. Maybe that's an attitude my generation can work on changing. At the last council meeting, I heard a woman say she'd feel safer using transit if there were more people using a transit system. When other cities have added LRT, they found that more people decided to use transit. As the councillor for Ward 1 said in an editorial last year, people who are well off don't use bus transit very much. But in other cities, they have found that these people will use an LRT and develop a habit of transit use. That means more people on transit. With more people around, you feel safer and you can be safer. It's only fair that we do what we can to help all our citizens, including single women, who also pay taxes, be safe and feel safe in our city. When we were out at the bus stops and at the park talking to people, I got a little discouraged that some people only want to talk about what they want and their own small part of the city. Then I reminded myself that somebody built the city I live in. Somebody built the school that I go to and the soccer fields that I play on. Now it's my turn to care about what we build for the young people coming up behind me. The LRT is a huge project. Of course, we don't know some of the details yet, but while some opponents of the LRT prefer to imagine a picture of failure, I choose to paint a picture of success. I urge councillors to show leadership and think of my future when you cast your votes today. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions of Matthew? Seeing none. Thank you, Matthew.